All right, friends, we are back. Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those who are new here, I am an event producer living and working in New York City, and I produce content just about what it's like to be an event planner living in New York City from a Black girl's perspective. And yeah, so welcome to the squad. If you're new, please stay. We invite you to be here. But this month is super exciting because by the time this video airs, it will be March. And I decided that this month I really wanted to feature just some of the beautiful Black women in my life who are really doing it up. Like, I have a lot of friends who I admire who are really doing it up in their careers or just making moves for themselves. And I feel like they don't give themselves enough credit. So I was like, yeah, we need to feature y'all. We need to talk about y'all and we need to talk about what you're doing. So all month, I'll be interviewing different people in my life who I think are phenomenal and doing great things. And no, they don't have a million followers on Instagram. And no, they don't have brand deals. But trust me, they are highly relatable. And we're just going to get into different topics based on maybe what they work on or things that I've talked to them about before that I think would be really interesting just to give to you all. So yeah, let's get into our first episode. So our first guest is Miss Alayna Cater. Alayna is a senior event planner at a law firm in New York City. So she's a fellow event girly like me. Mm-hmm. And how long have you been in events for?
Well, okay, so my first official big girl job was at EY. I don't work there anymore.
Okay.
During their Entrepreneur of the Year Awards. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to go into social media because that was the big boom and everybody was a social media manager. I said, oh, I want to do that. I can do that. And then I got in that and I said, oh, So then I went back to events at my current job and I've been there.
What about it did you not like?
I wasn't just a social media manager. I was a photographer. I was a graphic designer. I was the copywriter. I was everything, but the pay wasn't matching all of these roles. So I don't even know. So I moved here about 10 years ago. So I started doing events about 10 years ago, but I probably have maybe like 6 years altogether.
Oh, nice. But you've been doing it. You've been doing it up.
Yeah, girl.
And you also do some other things. So what are the other things that you do?
Well, you know how we always be moonlighting and stuff because we just feel like it.
Yes.
But this mainly happened because of the pandemic.
Okay.
And I feel everybody started doing hobbies during the pandemic. Yeah. Like people were making bread and gardening and shit. So I decided to do rug tuffing, which is making rugs. So I do that on the set sometimes.
Nice. Yeah. And you gotta tell the people where you're from because we hear the accent.
Oh yes, I'm from Virginia, 804 all day.
Hey. What's up? Well, nice, and thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes. So I touched a little bit earlier about how I really just wanted to highlight the Black women in my life who are doing it up and doing the things. And I feel like you are one of those people.
Yeah, sweetest.
Thank you. I do feel like you are one of the very few people that I know who is like a Black woman in the event industry in New York City. I know there's a lot more of us out there, but I just don't know where they be at.
Me either.
Because, like, I'm trying to find, so if anybody is listening and you are a part of the community, please like, subscribe, comment so we can find you because we don't know where you be at. And it's really just small. It's a small industry, I feel like.
Small. It is small. But I did meet one woman. Her name's Erica. She owns like experiential event company, Tinsel Experiential.
Nice.
I have met her and had some conversation with her, but she's probably like the only other Black woman.
Yeah.
I've met in events.
I did meet someone else who worked at Freeman. She is very lovely. I met her actually at one of these venue openings downtown. Actually, the same one that we were talking about, Nebula. I met her there and she is phenomenal, and she's also a world traveler. Actually, y'all might get along. Okay.
Yes,
and she's a solo travel girly. Ooh. She knows who she is if she's watching this episode.
I do love to solo travel.
Yes.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
So I think also it would be great for people to know how we met because I think the way we met is super unique, and I feel like it was just one of those things that were really meant to be.
It had to be.
It had to be.
It literally had to. It was definitely a meant to be type of situation.
Yes. So I want you to tell the story because.
Okay. All right. So therapy.
Very
important.
Do it.
Black girls in therapy,
yes.
Very important. And then something else that I find important is Black girls in therapy with Black therapists.
Yes.
So I started therapy with my current therapist after I don't even know how many rounds of therapists I went through, but I found this wonderful woman named Joy. Shout out Joy.
Shout out Joy. We love
Joy. We were just talking about my career, what I do, and I'm always trying to figure it out. I don't know if I'm a good event planner. So she's like, I got this girl that you need to meet. She lives in Harlem like you, and she is in events like you. She's a Black woman like you. I said, okay, hook me up. So emailed this wonderful girl named Taylor. Didn't really know much about her, but I was like, I'll try it. So I emailed her. We connected, and then we went to a coffee shop in the neighborhood. Yeah, and we just found out we connect no more than just event planning level. Also.
Yeah, so we had a lot of life similarities and just same type of similarities when it came to work. But I think just Black girls, we like each other.
Literally.
I think literally. Especially when you're in the same field, but then also you just vibe on the same level. Yeah. I feel like girls that are in their early 30s, late 20s, we're all kind of on the same wavelength right now. Yeah. Whether it's career-wise or work-wise. But that story matches up because it matches my story. But I just remember going to this coffee shop and I was like, where is this girl? And I see you and I'm like, you must be 22. I'll never forget that. I thought you were 21, 22. And I was like, this girl is really out here doing it. She is an event planner at a law firm and she is 22. Alayna looks like she is an 18-year-old, y'all. It's crazy. And she looks good. Good. You look
Sometimes it takes some work.
You always look good. What? Thank you. Anyway, but in that conversation, and partially a majority of why I wanted you to come on this episode was because you talked about it just a few minutes ago and you said it. You said, I don't know if I'm a good event planner. It literally just came out. Yeah. So I think, which is crazy because you just said how long you've been doing this for. And, you have a ton of experience. So for you to be I don't know if I'm a good event planner. Girl, I know you're a good event planner. I've never even really been to one of your events. So, which we need to change, though. We need to change that.
Well, I did invite you to that.
You did.
I definitely invited her to one of my events.
Yes, she did.
And she did not come.
I didn't make it. But we're going to change that. But it leads us to what I've kind of been thinking about and what came up in that initial conversation that we had was just talking about imposter syndrome and how we are all really living in imposter syndrome. This shit is crazy. And, as women who are so, we did what we were supposed to do. We went to school, we got the degrees, we've worked hard, we've done what we needed to do. Yeah. And for some reason, we are still just not as confident in ourselves, even though we are performing really well on the outside. Yeah. So I wanted to just go through what the dictionary definition. Okay. I don't even think it's a dictionary. This was actually Google. But I don't think it's in the dictionary. But imposter syndrome is defined as a condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite being high performing in the external way and objective ways. Yeah. So I think imposter syndrome has really hit me in all aspects of life. Okay. Specifically more within the events field. I think when we talked about it was just how we plan huge events on a daily basis. And we work with some really top venues in New York City. We review contracts. We do a lot of different things working with vendors. But somehow if somebody reaches out to me and they're like, can you plan my baby shower? I'm like, I don't know. Can I do that? I don't really know if I can do that. It's just
ain't me. Ain't me.
Why is that though? I don't get it. I don't know. But I just feel sometimes we underestimate how good we're actually doing. And I really just want to talk about where does that even come from for us?
Girl,
this is about to get deep.
It sounds like some Joy would say.
I know. But wait, we didn't even say Joy is also, Joy is my therapist too. So I met Joy. So rewind. I met Joy back in, I think it was 2019. And I would let y'all know she would be real proud of this episode right now because we have come a long way, y'all. And
she would.
I met her when I was like super, I was just stressed. I was at a point in my life where just a lot was going on for me. Emotionally, with family, with work, and transitioning. I was in school. I'll never forget. I was living in Westchester County and I was commuting to Connecticut for work in Stamford. I was driving back to Westchester, taking the train to NYU at night and getting home at 11:30 at night. And I'll never forget, I had this day, I walked into my room and I was just bawling. My dad came in and he was just like, he was like, we need to do something about this. Like, he's like, you can't live here anymore. He's like, you got to move out. He was like, you got to move out.
Kicking you out.
He did. He was like, you have to move out because this whole commuting thing, it was crazy. But I met Joy. She was in New Rochelle at the time, actually. So I had gone to her in-person sessions, and I've pretty much been with her ever since. So, yeah. So I think it was like I had dropped off for like a good 8 months, and then I picked myself back up. I did. It was like a good 8 months, I think, between 2020 and 2021, where I didn't really see her that much. And then now past 2 years, every 2 weeks, baby. Look at me. Anyway.
Consistent therapy.
Yes, consistent therapy. But that has also really aided with my imposter syndrome. I feel like having, in therapy, I feel like it's more of like a sounding board. And I do feel like I'm kind of just saying the things out loud. And then she is like kind of reassuring me. But also when I say the things out loud, I'm like, wow, that sounds dumb. That sounds crazy,
That's real.
Is that how you feel when you talk to her?
Yes. All the time.
Yeah.
I kind of not rehearse things with Joy, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna hit this point, hit that point, hit that point. And then when I say it out loud and actually talk to her about the issue, I'm like,
that sounds dumb.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. No, so I do experience that also.
Yeah.
For sure.
How do you feel like you experience imposter syndrome in the workplace?
Girl, basic things.
Yeah.
Very basic things. So you remember when I told you, the nebula thing? Mm-hmm. I was thinking to myself, why are these people even writing me? What
do you mean?
Girl, I don't know. Little things like that.
We are on the listserv. We are on the company listserv. Okay, so
but still,
if you guys don't know, if you are in event management and you work in New York City, you will likely get invited to new venue openings. And it's really cool because it's usually free drinks, free food. They have a caterer that comes through, and the caterer is usually going to be the designated caterer for that venue. And you kind of get to mix and mingle. And I like going to these things because most of them are already caterers that we've worked with. So it's really just nice to mingle with other people because you kind of know everyone who's there. Plus, you get to meet some new faces.
Yeah, but it's any of those type of things. I'm invited to an event for event planners, or somebody reaches out because they want an informational interview or something. I'm
yes. And you can provide the knowledge, though.
But I'm like, me?
Yes, you.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's how it affects me on the smallest of things. Yeah. The smallest of things. And sure, I could provide this knowledge, but for some reason, I don't feel that I could. I can.
That's crazy. I think you had mentioned to me how you feel sometimes can I actually plan this event? You know what I mean? And I don't know how you can think that.
Girl,
it's just showing up in all the ways. But I also think that I try to think about what contributes to my imposter syndrome. What is really making me think I really can't do this.
Yeah.
And when it comes to people asking me about baby showers and stuff, I'm this is a really personal event.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, I really do like planning dinner parties. But when anybody's can you help me plan this? Can you help me plan that? That's so intimate. It kind of, let's say this. So intimate. And then also the ones that are we don't got no budget. Baby, It's like, that is the I love y'all. I will help in any way physically possible. But when you stretch my creative brain because we have no money to do this event, but I'm going to do it anyway because I love you, that is tough. I think that's really where it lies. And it really is. It really is. And I can push myself to think creatively, but there's just something in me that's just like, I don't know if I can do it. And I can do it. I've done it on multiple occasions, but every time I pick up a new event, it's like me really questioning if I can do this.
Yeah. No, that's real, because working at so I work for a very large law firm, and it feels like I have a safety net in a way, especially when it comes to budget, because not that the budget is endless, but it's a pretty good budget. And so I know I can do whatever I want within a certain extent. And I just feel if I go to someone else or I handle their personal event and I can't deliver because I don't understand how to work that type of budget. Like, I mean, you can accommodate to those things as an event planner. Like, you have those skill sets, but I don't know. I just get in my head about it.
It's hard because it's not also an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also I've been thinking about like my management over the course of my career. And I was listening to Therapy for Black Girls with the other Joy. And she was talking about just like the impacts of the workplace and how it can really play on your imposter syndrome.
Oh, girl. I don't even know if I can get into all of this because
it can be a whole thing. It can be a whole thing. But I have been very blessed to have really good managers. I feel like the one time I did have a terrible manager, I not only like, it was okay. I had this terrible manager. Ooh, now she gonna know who she is. She ain't never gonna listen to this, so it's fine. But it's really fine. But I didn't have a great manager. Let's say that. I had started working my first job and I was in like a finance position, and I was in a finance position within the event world. Yeah. So I was still working on the back end of like events through a finance outlook. And I knew that I wasn't great at finance, and I know that I didn't have like all the tools, but I just figured like I must be able to do it. They liked me on the interview. I got the job, whatever. That's when I learned, don't embellish your resume because don't do it. Don't do it. Like, when they pulled up that Excel and they were like, do this, this, that, and the third, I was like, baby, I can't. I really can't.
Now you knew.
I knew. But even so, like, even just to feel like I was supported, I didn't really feel supported at all. Like, once we had that first like few conversations, I kind of felt like she was kind of cold. Not in like she meant to be cold. That was probably just how she was. And it really made me think about like, am I qualified to do this? Like, not even qualified, but do I even have the skill set? And the reality is I did have the skill set. I went to business school. Like, I didn't just, I had the experience. I worked within budgets before. I was like at school on this main campus program board that planned all the events for Temple, which we'll get into that at some point. But I planned all these events and I knew like what fell within what brackets. I was doing the work and I just didn't feel supported enough by her. And I really didn't feel like I could perform well. And just because of that, I performed even worse. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like I had that slight like thing of, that support. And I feel like as I have advanced in my career and I became a manager at one point, and I was managing a team of 5. And I just think that for me, that became like my sole purpose of my job, was to make sure that no matter how good they were, they always felt supported by me in some way. Because I just knew how bad that experience really was for me.
No, it gets to you. It really does.
Yeah, it does. And it's just like it's not great. It's not a great feeling.
It's not fun.
No, it's
not. I mean, I've definitely had my fair share of managers. Yeah. How can I talk about this?
Girl,
how can I talk about it? Well, I've just, in a role, there were a lot of managers within the time span of my job. So it was like one way I was doing it with this manager, and then that manager would leave, and then I would have another manager under this type of way, and then I would have another manager. And one of the managers, she was like a micromanager. She was very nitpicky on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So she would just say like little things like, oh, you spelled a word wrong here. Like,
girl.
Oh, you should arrange the Excel sheet this way and highlight it this way.
Yes.
So I'm just like, am I messing up on everything? Oh Lord, I'm telling you, I am messing up.
It's okay.
Am I messing up on everything? Do I not know how to do my job?
Yeah.
So that really, really affected me with her management style.
Yeah.
I don't do well with micromanagers.
No.
Like, I'm a grown.
Stop. If y'all are out there, you're
I'm a grown
woman. Please stop.
You have to trust that I can do the job,
yes.
and I can.
Yes.
I'm on the team for a reason.
Yeah. I think also you perform better when you are, well, I know you perform better when people trust you with whatever. Like when I just remember it, I did have another not so great manager and I also ended up quitting that job. Like, and I don't really think I knew at the time I had quit because of my manager, but when I look back at it, I think I did.
Mm-hmm.
She was new. I was working on this account for a while and this was when I was like a true PM. I was kind of out of event management for a while. So I was like a true project manager. And she came onto this account that we were working on maybe a year after me. By the way, I was running the account by myself for like 3 months because I had no oversight or no overhead. And things were not going excellingly because I was trying to work at a level that was 3 levels above my pay grade. And I had just really got there. So it was interesting. So they did hire someone that was over me, but she did not like anything she would ask me to do. She would do it. Like she would ask me to do something and then 30 minutes later it's already done and she did it herself. And for me, that was really tough because 1, I felt like she didn't trust me to do my work, but 2, like you didn't even really take the time to kind of, coach me on how you wanted to do it anyway. Yeah. And I also feel like the people who are managers who are like, you have to do it my way are not good managers. No. Because you're not managing someone on how their style or how to advance themselves, but you are just managing them on how to be you. Mm-hmm. Like, ain't nobody trying to be you. I just feel like, no, I can be better in my own way. If there's things that you do wrong that need to be improved, that's a different story. Yeah. But like, just because I fitted the spreadsheet in this way, but you like it in this way, that doesn't mean I'm doing it wrong. Yeah. And I think that really aided to my imposter syndrome and like kind of how I shut down and just like decided to leave that job. Because I was like, yeah, no, I can't do this.
Well, they say people don't quit bad jobs, they quit bad managers.
Ooh. Yeah, so that's true. They do quit bad managers.
Stop being a bad manager.
Stop being a bad manager.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Like, please. We hate the micromanaging. No, it's really true.
It's not beneficial.
No, it's not. Mm-hmm. And then also just, I think generally, imposter syndrome has really just held me back. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this year I'm like, no.
You fighting her?
I'm fighting her because I just feel like you can't. Yeah. It's too much. Like we talked about it, like we are in our late 20s, early 30s, and we are really like trying to make those moves in our lives, and we don't have time for imposter syndrome. We really don't.
That's fair. Do you think imposter syndrome also for yourself has to deal with the fear of failing?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a big one for me too.
Yeah.
But I think it's okay to, like, I had to tell myself that it's okay to fail.
Yeah. It is okay to fail.
Nothing's wrong with it.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where that stems from, of me saying like, I can't fail or I can't mess up or I'm like this stupid person. I don't know where that comes from, but that's just what I think sometimes.
I think that I don't know if I really have a fear of failing. I have a fear of like just not being successful. Mm-hmm. Like I really have this vision for myself and what I want to do with my life. Yeah. And I guess it is a fear of failing. It's like a fear of like not getting to that point and what that looks like. But now that you say it and like where that fear really comes from, I think as a kid, I was not good at reading. I was not a great student, y'all. From elementary school to high school, I was really not a good student. I was super, super quiet. I didn't talk at all. Like, this is really impressive for me.
What? You talk so much.
Girl, no, I did not talk. My parents had took me to a speech therapist because they thought that like I really wasn't gonna I wasn't speaking. So, and even through high school, like anyone who knows me, I was pretty quiet. I didn't really like.
Really?
Girl, no. I found myself in college.
Okay.
Definitely did the whole glow up in college.
Got it.
But I think I was on a 504 plan. I don't know if you know what that is. You know what that is?
I think I've heard of it.
So it's like an aided like learning program for kids who have like, it takes them longer or a different way to read or learn or just interpret things that like average students might interpret. So I was on a 504 from when I was in kindergarten all the way up through high school. I didn't take it to college with me because I decided that I wasn't going to use it in college. And that like program, it was good in a way because it helped me and it aided me. But in another way, it just didn't feel great. Like I felt like, kids are mean. Like they make you feel
kids
like,
are evil.
Kids are evil. Like they make you feel like
so mean.
You're dumb just because you're in classes that are helping you just like in reading and writing. Like I was a really bad reader. I would skip over words and my dad would literally stay up with me late at night and try to teach me like how to really study. And it got to the point where I was really able to study once I got to high school. And I think that whole process and being around kids who didn't really understand like what I was going through learning wise, and then growing up to realize that like nothing was really wrong with me. I just think that we just learned in different ways. Like
we all learned in different ways.
Right. And I think that really put me in a place where it kind of made me feel like I was always like the slower kid who really didn't understand or couldn't really process things as quickly as other people. And honestly, as I've gotten older and I tell people that I was on this 504, they're like, what? And I'm like, it's not a personality trait, y'all. It's just like a learning thing. It's just a thing,
It is.
But I think that also really contributed to like my now where I am to be like, wow, I really came that far. Like, how am I really here? Like, is this something that I can really do? Are these things that I can actually accomplish? Are these meetings that I can actually sit in? Like, I'll never forget, I was in a meeting with IBM. I was in an IBM meeting. I was working at my PR company, and I was that true project manager job. Girl, I was in a room with like the chief communications officer and a few other like leads in the room and like big leads. And I was the project manager on the account because we were running like one of their like content newsroom projects. And I was the PM for the agency that was doing and helping with content. And girl, I was just sitting there and people were asking me questions and I was like, I am not qualified to be in this room. I just remember being like, I'm not qualified to be here, But I think it's moments like that you turn around and you're like, oh shit, I am qualified to be here.
Clearly you're in the room.
I know, right?
Yeah,
but it's strange. It's
weird.
Very strange. It's strange, but yeah, I think like, but that from me growing up was like, look at this little girl in this room. Like, I don't even know what's on this paper right now. It's like, what?
But you knew.
I knew. I did know. I do know. But I do think like it impacts. And I think like, what do you do to kind of, or what have you tried to do? I don't know if we're really successful at it because we're still working through it at this point. But what have you tried to do to kind of prevent that imposter syndrome from taking over? Or like, what techniques have you tried if like when it does come up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a marathon, not a race, trying to get over this. But I mean, probably the only thing that really works is like faking it. I just like tell that voice in my head like, shut up. And then so just fake it. I just do it. And then whatever happens. Usually it works out. So 9 times out of 10 it works.
I think it is totally fake it till you make it. Because if you don't believe it, like, you have to be a little delulu. That is really a thing. When everybody's like, successful people are a little delusional. Yes, delusion. They are. Delusion is key. Okay?
It really is.
It really is key because I feel like a lot of us don't think it's possible. So a little delusional and a little nicks in the butt is like, yeah.
And then I think another thing that helps, which is so simple, but it's also very hard, is just asking for help.
Yeah.
Or asking for another opinion.
Yeah.
If you want it.
Yeah. I think also we forget that we don't have to know all the answers.
We don't. I always forget that. Always.
It's like you are the only one that is supposed to give all the answers to the questions. But like, why? Why do I have to do that? I don't know. That's the one thing about being a project manager that I've learned, is that I will never have all the answers, because I am not an expert in any of the spaces or any of the things that everyone around me is working on. Yep. But my job is to bring the people who are the experts to the room to give those expertise. And my job is just to ask y'all the right questions.
Exactly.
So I think we should not take shame in that. Like,
no shame.
We don't know. Like, we just have to ask the people. I don't think I really have a technique right now.
And that's fine.
I really don't think I have
a
technique to beat my imposter syndrome. Sometimes I'm just like, I'll call a friend. Yeah. Like, I think I'll call a friend, like my best friend or any of my line sisters. Like, I call them and they're like, yeah, girl, you're tripping. Like, what is wrong with you?
Always.
My brother is also like that. My little brother, and my older brother too. But my little brother's always like, girl, you've been doing this for years. Like, why does it sound so shocking to you every time someone asks you to do something else? And I'm like, because me? Like, why me? That's crazy. You know?
That's not something that your brother would say.
Yes, it is something that my brother would say. Also, my brother works with Alayna. So this all falls into the story. So the funny thing is, I met Alayna. Yes. And then a few months later, my brother had gotten...
it was an interview.
He had gotten an interview at... her company. And then after that, a few weeks later after that, my cousin Matt had then gotten an interview at the company. Yes. So this was meant to be.
Literally.
It was literally.
It's craziness.
It is. So I guess, like, what do we say to the girls who are suffering with imposter syndrome? And like, but also suffering with imposter syndrome, but like, they're also high functioning and killing it. Like, I'm not, and yes, that is the definition of imposter syndrome. But what do we say to the girlies who are in that, like, tag, I don't know if I could really do this? What do we say?
I say that it really just starts with you. Like, you have to believe that you are that, you know, that girl. And you are that girl.
Yeah.
You really are. Like, all of these thoughts that you have in your head that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not quick on your feet enough. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's really not true. And I know it's going to be in the back of your head for probably ever. But you really just have to tell yourself that it's just not true.
Yeah.
And then I would also, like you said, call your friend. Like, just call people, reach out, like, have some like sense smacked into you, basically. Like, just get some sense smacked into you, and, you know, believe that the people that love you will never lie to you, and they will tell you that you are amazing, that the way that you are. And I think that's like a beautiful thing about community also. Like, I know I can hit you up, be like, girl, so like, yeah, I'm planning this dinner and I don't know. And you're like, really?
Well, Alayna's going to be coming with me to all my events now, because I just helped my friend plan his 30th birthday party. And I was like, Alayna, I need an event coordinator with me. And she was like, I got you, girl. She came over in sweats and sneakers. And I had on my gown already. She's like, oh, we come in with the gowns on? All right, let me get dressed.
I was ready to work.
She was ready to work.
I was ready to work.
She was ready to work. We got in the car. We got everything in the Uber. In the Suburban, you know, we had to get everything in there. And I was like, all right, here's the run of show. This is the plan. This is what the lighting's going to be like. This is what times things are happening throughout the night. And she was on it. You were on it. So
I don't play around when it comes to
So like, and she picked it up so quick. And I was like, well, that's a done deal. We doing this again. So, yeah, but you're great. Like, you are really phenomenal at what you do.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. I don't even know what I would tell the girls. I would just copy everything that she said. Honestly, I think that in the moments where you feel like imposter syndrome is about to take over, or you feel like it's there and it's present, I think just take a moment and really think through the situation in terms of like, don't be like, oh, can I really do this? Like, no, think about how nonsensical you sound that you really can do this. Yeah. Because you have the qualifications, you have the skill set, you know how to do it. You've probably been doing it for years. Yes. And and like, you know how to do it. And even if you haven't, like, even if this is something that's new for you, you can't let imposter syndrome like really block you from even trying. Because what? You miss 100%
of the shots you don't take.
Right. So if you don't try, and like, if you're going to let it hold you back, like, this is a whole new thing for me. And like I said, I was really quiet growing up. So this is a real shocker to my entire family. They're like, girl, what you doing? Like, they're like, we're proud of you, but what you doing?
You're doing it.
Thank you.
She's doing it.
But you really just have to take the chance. And like, if you want to see the change in yourself, I think I just reached a point where I was like, yeah, something has got to change. Like, I want to be better. I want to try to advance myself. So like, how am I going to do that? Mm-hmm. And I think like, put yourself out there.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to do it. And just like, don't let imposter syndrome come for you, babes, because you are better than it.
You are.
F it. We don't bang with it.
We don't.
We don't.
Ew.
Bye.
Ew.
Bye.
But also, so when I talked about imposter syndrome and, you know, not taking chances because of thought of failing, if you are scared of failure, which is all coming to me now, like, there's really no such thing as failure. You know, you at least tried something. The fact that you even tried something, that is like 90% more of what other people have done in their life.
Yeah.
And those people that talk about you, or you're scared of people who are going to talk about you, I'm really talking to myself. If you're scared of people to talk about you or making fun of you, it's like, okay, well, they didn't even try.
Yeah.
Or they don't know your end goal or what you're trying to do. Like, you really have to set the focus on yourself.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I feel like this was the therapy session we needed.
Period.
Like, what? Joy would be so proud of us.
She would be.
She's gonna watch this episode and be like, my babies, they did it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm about to see her for like 2 weeks, so this is perfect.
This is perfect. Well, I think that is it. I think we covered it pretty much all.
I think so.
So you have to tell the people where to find you.
Okay, so right now I'm in a love-hate relationship with Instagram. It's like, you know, I get in these moods, but my Instagram is at AYEE Miss Carter. Miss Carter. Oh, and I'm on that Laps app also, but it's a weird process to get on. But my name is Miss Carter over there also. But that's really it for now.
We will put your social media tags in the description so the people can find you.
Yay!
And of course,
I love making friends, so please.
Like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, share with another girly who might be experiencing imposter syndrome, or just share with your girlfriends anyway, because they likely won't tell you that they're even suffering from imposter syndrome. They might not even know what that is. So send them this episode, share, and thank you for joining us. Thanks, Alayna.